here, chicken.
I thought I knew Equestria.
Where are you?
Pretty well, even.
Not again.
But after being dropped centuries in the future with only traces connecting to the past I know, I was lost. What the heck happened here? Where did the crystals come from? And most importantly, what happened to Twilight? So many questions, so few answers. But after piecing things together, I've come to my most shocking conclusion yet. As long as I can remember, pivotal moments in history were recorded in stained glass, and it seems that tradition continued at least one more time. In the abandoned station beneath Zephyr Heights, there's a beautiful mural that depicts the three tribes' crystals. Unicorn on the left, Pegasus on the right, and what used to be Earth Pony in the middle. Above them, in beaming rays of glory, is Twilight Sparkle's cutie mark, complete with the surrounding stars. Take a good look, because when it comes to connecting future Equestria to the past we know, this is all there is. So let's start at the beginning. What's happening here? At the very least, this mural connects the crystals to Twilight Sparkle. She has something to do with them. I would take it a step further and say this shows Twilight creating the crystals. The way I see it, the crystals are moving away from the common point of origin of Twilight's cutie mark, communicating that they came from her. This seems to be the most straightforward interpretation of the mural, so let's build off of that. The first question that comes to mind is, why would Twilight create the crystals? This is a rather surprising development. I mean, one of the biggest lessons she learned throughout the years is that artifacts like the elements of harmony aren't what's important. No, the magic of friendship is more than enough. If anything, the focus on artifacts was a crutch, a distraction from the magic of friendship. So why would she just turn around and make more distractions? Wouldn't this risk the people of Equestria falling into the same trap she did? The tribes may start focusing on the crystals instead of the unity that powers them. They may separate, all moving closer to their respective crystals, forming their own societies around them, like what we see with the Pegasi and their ruler's crown. And when the crystal's charges inevitably fade, they blame it on each other and keep their distance. This very well may be what happened, and it all be because they were too focused on physical objects. Twilight of all ponies must have seen this coming and considered that risk. And yet, she decided to do it anyway. Which makes you wonder what else she factored into the decision to make the crystals. The alternative must have been worse. I don't think this is something she wanted to do, but rather something she felt had to be done. If you're starting to detect a sense of urgency here, I think you're on the right track, because there's been one other situation in which artifacts have been emphasized to be better in a way, and that was during a catastrophe in magic. When Cozy Glow was draining all magic from Equestria, Star Swirl knew that innate magic would be the first thing to go, and that artifacts would last the longest. Sure enough, after unicorn magic had long since failed, artifacts such as the Key of Unfettered Entrance and the EEA Medallion were still functional. According to Chancellor Naysay, Equestria's most potent magic is housed in its artifacts. Something about artifacts makes them more reliable in the long term than innate magic. In other words, artifacts are a way to hold on to magic that would otherwise slip away. With this context, Twilight's focus on artifacts is telling. There must have been a similar crisis in magic, and creating the crystals was Twilight's response. Think about it, ponies didn't used to need artifacts to cast spells or fly. It was just a part of their innate abilities. That must have changed. Ponies were losing their innate magic, and Twilight made the crystals so some magic could last. This is all beginning to make sense, but why didn't she stick around to help ponies stay united? Where is Twilight Sparkle? Well, it's time we talk about how she made the crystals. One crystal for each tribe, right? As an alicorn, Twilight contained magic from each tribe, so it's not at all surprising that she'd be able to create such artifacts. But at what cost? The crystals can power up every pony, so what if Twilight had to sacrifice everything? This is where the evidence points. Think about how the creation of the crystals is depicted. The reason Twilight herself isn't on the mural. At first, I thought her cutie mark was a symbolic representation of her, but then it hit me. Mother of Celestia, this is what the event literally looked like. Twilight's cutie mark was in the sky, and we have seen this before when she became an alicorn. It was a moment of intense change, an enormous magical transformation, and the mural shows the same thing happening, but in reverse. Twilight Sparkle unbecame an alicorn. That's the missing piece in all of this. In an epic display of selflessness, she separated her alicorn magic back into its Earth Pony, Pegasus, and Unicorn components, storing them in each of the crystals. Kept safe in the artifacts, Twilight's magic would be able to survive the crisis, and ponies could draw upon it for years to come. That's what the mural depicts. Twilight sacrificing her alicornhood so her people could still have magic. A decision made out of duty and at great cost. And just like that, her rule ended the same way it began, with a sparkle in the twilight sky, ultimately fulfilling her destiny. Without the alicorn magic that increased her lifespan, Twilight lived out the rest of her natural days as a mortal, the reason she's not around today. But the mural in the station shows us that Twilight's sacrifice was widely recognized and honored. Of course, most of Equestria would eventually forget her legacy, but the few that remembered passed it down from generation to generation in hopes that one day ponykind would be able to restore Twilight's vision of unity. And that's exactly what Argyle inspired in Sunny Star Scout. Though it's quite the dramatic story, I think it lines up best with the information we know. Artifacts are most useful during magic emergencies. Ponies now need artifacts to use magic. Twilight is somehow connected to those artifacts. She contains the same kind of magic as them, and the mural depicts the same sight that occurred last time Twilight transformed. It all tells the story of desperate times and desperate measures, of tough calls and of sacrifice. Or at least that's how I see it. I'm always learning new things and discovering more all the time, so definitely subscribe and ring the bell to keep up with it all. But in the meantime, what do you think? Am I right about what happened to Twilight? What does the mural depict? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you liked the video, like the video. If you want to support this channel financially, check out my perks at patreon.com/sawtoothwaves. And thank you so much to everyone who already has, especially my Alicorn tier patrons. The Nameless One, Equinox3141, Cameo Shadowness, Darth Sylar 12, Petrolhead 02, Cyanax, Princess Starglow, Grimaclips, and this video's Alicorn of the Week, Solar Scripture. Congrats, and thanks again for everyone's support. Y'all helped make this channel possible. I'm Sawtooth Wave, signing out until next time. Brohoof!